He's a Hall of Famer, and he's an author now, too. The book is called Killer, My Life in Hockey. Here's Doug Gilmour. Hello, Dougie.
Well,
nice to see you.
Trying to catch up to you. That's what I'm doing.
In age?
Yeah, in age. I'm doing well, Bobcat.
Good, pal. I'm always intrigued by the motivation of people to write a book, and when do you decide is the right time to write the book? Now, you've been out of hockey for a while.
14 years.
Yeah, I was going to say 10, but it's
No,
more.
Out of the NHL, please.
Out of the NHL.
Out of the NHL.
Well, because he dabbled with the Maple Leafs for a while, and then with the Marlies for a while, and then now with Kingston for an extended period of time.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
But why now?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that I've been asked pretty much after, like 12 years ago, it started.
Yeah.
And I said no. 5 years ago, my dad passed away. And then 2 years later, Mom was diagnosed with dementia. That's when I was like, you know what, maybe it is time to write. And then not to say that in the inside it says it's devoted to them. Just growing up in Kingston and kind of what we went through and what they, particularly gave to us. And,
right.
And the support system I had from both of them. So that was my motivation from it. And my mom passed away October 5th, and it's one of those things that I'm glad I did it now.
Well, we're sorry to hear that about your mother. That's our sympathies. The question becomes for me, Doug, is are we going to be able to figure out, your inner heart about this game? Are we going to, because you're not the biggest guy. You may be one of the toughest guys pound for pound in so many ways, maybe not from a fighter's perspective, but everybody remembers you. I remember you from your time in St. Louis and in Calgary long before Toronto. And
we were neighbors in Calgary.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
No. You should be apologizing to me.
But you lose some sleep because of the noise from next door?
But you played this game with such a temperament. Where did that come from? And I would assume your mom and dad had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, in the book it says certain things that lessons that they taught me. I was a skinny little guy, and they're trying to feed me mashed potatoes, and I hate mashed potatoes. So I'd put them under my plate or put them in my pocket, any way to get rid of these things. But the one thing I had to do every day was probably drink about 3 Ensures, and that was a vanilla one that tastes like chalk. And Dad was trying to put calories for me to grow and get put some weight on. Just couldn't do it. And I was never a big eater. To this day, I'm not a big eater. But as you go back to the game, there's a lot of naysayers throughout my time in junior and minor hockey. And in my heart, I just wanted to prove everybody wrong.
It's interesting. Your size didn't work against you because you were talented enough. But not long after you went from junior to the NHL, got drafted, we went through a phase in the NHL which probably lasted 20 years.
Close to it, Bob.
Where a guy your size wouldn't even get a look.
No.
Might not even get drafted out of midget by a junior team. Because size was everything.
And that's the help that I had, that I was drafted 3rd round as a defenseman. I weighed in at camp as a 17-year-old. 140 pounds.
Yike.
And the general manager, Gordy Woods, said, no, you're playing center now. So my vision was, okay, I'm playing defense. I can see the whole ice coming out. Now I got to learn to take faceoffs and different things. So I had great leadership in front of me. There's Scotty O'Neill, Dale Howardchuk was there. So I learned that pretty quick. And again, my first year, we won the Memorial Cup, and I didn't get drafted. The next year, projection was maybe 3rd, 4th round. I went 7th. Now you really pissed me off.
Yeah.
You go back in. I thought it was a good idea. I was mad at, the team. Maybe I should get traded. I just had a chip on my shoulder. And
who were you mad at?
Everybody.
Okay.
And it just, I decided to go out, and we're playing against Kitchener, and it was Mike Eagles, and he's a lefty and I'm a lefty, and I didn't do too well. I broke my nose and cheekbone in that fight. Went home, had my nose fixed. My brother was laughing at me all the way home. My 13 years older than I am, and went through the junior ranks and everything, pro ranks, and get your head into the game. Don't do what I did. And after that, I just had to focus on hockey, and it all came back. So,
well, the interesting thing is that the cycle has turned almost 360 degrees now, and now guys of smaller stature are getting an opportunity again and excelling again as skilled offensive players, which is what you were principally. Would you like to play, when you watch the game today, do you think, I'd like to play in this league with this group of guys?
A bit. I think the side where there's the hooking and all that stuff, that would benefit the game. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that I had to prove to the people I'm playing against that you're not scared.
You like physical hockey.
Yeah, I'm going to chop you in the back of the legs. I'm trying to get you in the calf, so your calf's going to shut down the third period.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hurt you when I put my helmet on. And I wouldn't be able to do that now.
That's right.
And I totally understand that side. But it's just the competitive side that we had to play at. And for me to get there and surviving, I had to make those guys over there think that I'm not all there. Because he's going to stick me in the face. He's going to do something. And that's, again, I'd take my helmet off, and you both know me off the ice. I went home, and I was like, did I really do that? And then put that helmet back on.
That was the key, huh?
Yeah.
So, and this is not to be a negative question, but if Dale Hawerchuk doesn't play in Cornwall, are you drafted?
Dale was drafted the year before me.
But people saw you that year before.
He was an underage draft.
But people paid attention to you, right, on that team? Or were you ever teammates?
Yes.
So
my very first year, we were in the Quebec League.
Right.
And then, again, the first line center was Dale, Scott O'Neill, and then myself.
The late, great Jacques Caron Ron Caron said, you know what, if I hadn't seen Hawerchuk, I probably wouldn't have found Gilmour.
Yeah. Again, he had to be watching it because they're in the Memorial Cup 2 years in a row. So for my side, like in the book, it tells, like, I didn't have a contract. Harry Ernest bought the team for $3 million and $10 million for the rink.
Harry, yeah.
And after we lost against Calgary, St. Louis, I think it was a 2-1 game.
In the blizzard on the tarmac?
No, they canceled our charter.
Yeah.
And we all had to defend for ourselves to get home, and a lot of things happened. So it was quite a franchise at that point in time. But I was over in Dusseldorf until he bought the team, and then Ron Caron came in, and that's when they called me back before I signed over in Dusseldorf.
If you spend your life living in this city, and I know you've been in and around and lived here, people think of Doug Gilmour as a Toronto Maple Leaf. When you go to Calgary, when you go to St. Louis, when you go to some of the other places you played, and there's a few now, Montreal, Buffalo, I'm missing too many.
Chicago,
New Jersey.
Yep. Do they treat you like when you go to Calgary? They say, I remember you when you played for the Flames.
It's not really like when we had a reunion not long ago, and everybody came back for it, and it was fun. There was media coverage, but no, times are gone past that, and they know you're, as far as an ex-hockey player, and everybody still wants to kind of come up and chat with you and stuff, but it's not crazy.
But people in Calgary still know you as a Flame, and remember, I mean, the only way he has his name on the Stanley Cup is as a Flame, not as a Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
Well,
yep.
Yeah, there aren't many around that have their name on as a Maple Leaf. But the Toronto years were your best year, most productive years, at least offensively. But were they your best years?
Well, John, he can attest this. I had a couple of good years in St. Louis my last 2 years, and then going to Calgary, kind of share the wealth with Joe Nieuwendyk. Mm-hmm. And Joe was, obviously a goal scorer, and he had Gary Roberts and Hawken Lube, and Colin Patterson and I were offensive, but a little defensive too. And then we had Joey Mullen on the side that can score goals. So it was a fun time. And again, we got power play time. They got power play time. It was a great team. And unfortunately, it got dismantled. And then when I got here, obviously, helped by Cliff getting Anderchuk as well. Glenn Anderson here, and he made some key changes right away, and we blossomed from it. And obviously, our coach.
Were you happy when you were traded to Toronto, being a Southern Ontario guy?
Well, obviously, I knew I was going, but I heard the other team was Hartford, so yeah, I was very happy.
But not to I haven't read the book, but not to steal a chapter of the book, that you and Doug Riseborough by then weren't speaking.
It was funny. Even the day I got to Calgary as a Flames, and Doug and I didn't like each other on the ice.
Even as team, when he was a coach, assistant coach?
Well, he would say hi once in a while, but not a lot. But it was just like, okay. And then Cliff left and Doug took over. And then, obviously we had an arbitration case that probably had about 250 pages and affidavits in there. So Larry Kelly was my agent, and you're allowed to have player affidavits in the time from Gretzky, different players. And he came with 3 pieces of paper stuck or stapled together. And got a little flustered and said a couple things. And
now you weren't in the room, were you?
Oh yeah,
you dummy! Don't go in the room for an arbitration case because nothing good can come of that.
Oh, I know. I had to do that in Jersey too,
with Uncle Lou.
With Uncle Lou.
Gosh,
but Lou didn't say a word. He had somebody say it for him.
Nothing more dangerous than going in the room for an arbitration case because they're going to crap on you.
Yes,
Yeah, you're going to crap on them, and they're going to crap on you. And if you don't have a thick skin, it can last for a lifetime.
It was like with Lou, it was a little different because I was on an old contract. So I was going to be a free agent no matter what at the end of the year. And I get a raise no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's where we went in. And I believe I saw a hockey card at the time, and it was Pat LaFontaine's, and our stats were very similar. And I had that in there as one of our negotiating.
Here, look at this.
Yeah.
That's me. I know it's got LaFontaine on it.
So as all the people you have been around in the game, you became a coach in the OHL. You're now a general manager in the OHL. When you're sitting on the other side of the desk and you're thinking about things and you're hearing even guys that older guys that might have agents or family members, and you hear the players, who do you think like? And when you do think like that, who do you hear?
The GM job is a little different in the OHL because it's just a turnover league. You know, you're 3 to 4 to 1. You don't know, and so you've got to try to build your second, third round guys that might be there for 3, 4, 5 years, and because like we lost Bennett 2 years ago, we lost Lawson Krause last year, and expectations we were not going to lose them. Then you got to go get bodies.
Yeah.
And again, I know London's missing a lot of guys still, but their records, it's got to be tough for them, and we've gone through it. And I think my mistake was when I traded with Mark Hunter for Bobkov. He stole we won 18 games that year. If we would have lost 2 more, we had McDavid.
Ooh.
So I didn't tank the right way, did I? By getting a really good goalie.
Yeah.
So you live and learn, but I got to say, like the coaching side, I took a little bit of Jacques Demers and then a lot of Pat Burns.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was just, but more of a communication side with the players. As far as the GM side, you just sit there and Darren Kiley was my assistant, and he's now the GM, and he's been in the league for 22 years, worked with Bert Templeton, and Roger Nielsen was more or less his grandfather. So he's got some hockey behind him, and he's a good GM. Like he's a prick to deal with. How's that? I'm not. So it was a good fit between both of us.
In hindsight, you prefer managing over coaching, or the other way around? They're very different.
Yeah, I really do enjoy coaching.
You do.
The management side, I don't mind either. But coaching was a lot more fun. Even being on the bus, I didn't mind it. It was just, it was nice. And as I said, my dad's gone. My dad used to call me every night or next day and tell me I wasn't shooting the puck enough. I got to do this. I got to do this. As soon as I got there coaching, he did the same thing as a coach. So,
really?
Oh, yeah. What do you have that guy on the ice for? You got to do this. You got to do this. And so, again, as much as I want to bitch about it, I miss it.
Hey, so with you kind of morphing out of what's going on in Kingston more and more, and can you see yourself getting back into the NHL game at all?
I've been asked, I guess, in a different way. I really have to think about it. If it's a great situation to look at, I wouldn't say no. Yeah. But at this point in time, I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm not going to do it forever. Though.
But you look at guys like Mike Fuda, came out Owen Sound,
yep.
assistant GM in Los Angeles. I mean, look what Mark's done here.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people with pedigree like yours in the OHL on the management and coaching side that have done pretty well in the NHL.
Yeah, it's got to be the right situation for me at this point in time in my life. So I want to I want to work hard still doing what I'm doing now. Once this tour is over, and then get back into it. And again, I would say I don't want to say yes, but I don't want to say no. I can't rule it out.
Have you turned anything down?
No, I haven't even put my name out to do
anything.
No.
Well, it's 4:16 on a Tuesday. The name's out now.
Yeah, you never know. I'm always intrigued by people writing a book, especially for the first time. Did you enjoy the process?
It's a year and a half I won't get back in my life.
That answers the question, and good for you, because that's exactly how I felt. You know, I did one, and I mean, you're working with somebody.
Yeah.
But it is not a fun experience, really.
At the end of it, Bob, when you're getting closer where it's getting done, I really enjoyed it because
you can see the light.
There was in between times that I had to come back from whether Burlington or Kingston. I got to come down to Toronto, sit for 4 hours, and go through this process, and then on a Thursday, right away, try to beat traffic, get out of here at 2:00, go to Kingston for our games, and but it was pieced together, and that was the fun part. The other side of it was the reminisce. You know, my sister telling stories, family telling stories, your friends telling the stories that I forgot. Like with my sister, one part of it, we were on Lake Ontario walking on the ice, and the outcome was good. It could have been really bad. So she fell through the ice.
She did, huh?
And we were right beside her. We could all went at the same time, and she popped back up, and I was about 50 pounds at best, so I didn't go through. And after that, don't ask me to play pond hockey.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
would you write another one? I mean, I know it's too early to really ask that question, but
I think it's what you're asking me about the hockey. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, what is it about Kingston? I mean, when you look at there's so many different avenues of people. When you look at Grapes, came out of Kingston, Kirk Muller, yourself. Then you look at the Hip. I mean, this little town's had a lot of influence in our country, hasn't it?
It really has, and like Taylor Hall, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great little hockey town. It's different than the days when we played with AAA. We had All-Star and House League, and no matter what, you had to play House League. So you play with some other players to help them grow and make it better. But
interesting.
Yeah,
good idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you're not out there just dominating. You're helping the other guys get better as well. So that's how it worked in Kingston. And it was a great town to live in, and I still live there part time. And again, it's a little different with my parents gone now, and in the future, do I go back as much? I'm not sure yet.
What do you want to be doing 10 years from now? Have you thought about that?
I'll be coming up to Vegas to see you.
Okay.
10 years from now, I'll be retired.
You don't want to work?
No, not after that. I'll want to see my I've got one grandchild now, and I want to hang with them and travel a little bit and play a little golf. And
where would you go that you haven't been? I don't know what your travel schedule is.
I've never been like Australia and New Zealand. I've never been to Hawaii.
Me neither.
Yeah, I would.
You guys haven't lived.
No, I want to challenge. The one thing I can say about my mom and dad, that they worked their butts off till like 64 years old. Dad didn't want to travel. Mom traveled a little bit. 5 years later, they weren't healthy enough to travel.
Yeah. And
that's what I don't want to do.
Right.
No, I understand that.
By the way, you tell me Madison has a...
Yeah, 3-year-old now.
Holy smokes.
My granddaughter.
Do I feel old?
Yeah, they're in... see, again, there's one thing. They're in Germany right now playing, and so I don't see her for 6 months. So it's where I was taking some time off and go over and see.
Madison used to drive her little car down the street all the time. And then Big Dad would come by in his motorcycle.
Motorcycle, yeah.
Well, you know what happened in the playoffs? Yeah, the year we won the Cup, we won. We beat the second round, LA 4 straight, and so I decided to go on my garage roof and take the lights down, and the ladder fell. Well, I'm not going to jump. We're in the playoffs, so Madison's down below. She's 3 years old. She has to walk down, knock on somebody's door, so come and open the window, let me in. I'm stuck on the roof, and I got a 3-year-old down below.
My daddy's on the
roof. I hope that's in the book.
No, it could be.
You ought to read it, for God's sake. She wrote it, Lest we forget, you've got a beer coming out.
Yeah, it's probably in about 60 places right now throughout GTA. And
Perfect.
It's KLR 93, and I'm doing a little kickoff tomorrow night on Simcoe somewhere, and we had the wine.
And then there's a wine coming out.
A wine coming out that we started in Prince Edward County, and unfortunately there was a sad case there. We moved it to the Mike Weir group up there. So I wonder who has a part to do with that.
You guys should get a room.
Well, we owned a restaurant together in the 90s for a period of time. I bought Doug's house.
Yeah.
Well, he begged me. Called me one night. Friday night. It was a Friday night, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And
we had to beat the taxes on it too.
Yep. And we did too.
You're not supposed to talk about that.
No, we didn't do anything illegal.
No, not illegal, but
they raised the taxes and it was January something,
yes.
right? Yeah. And we had to do the deal before that date, otherwise
and it was done. It was amazingly
You're going to spend
done.
more money, that's all.
Yeah, that's all. Just giving it to the government.
Yeah.
Which at some point I expect to get back, but good luck with that. It's great to see you.
Well, thank you for having me.
And
appreciate it, John.
We hope. I used to run into you at the bank occasionally, at the grocery store occasionally, but now you're living away. So
yeah, I'm out in Burlington now.
Yeah, in Newfoundland, they say you're living away. So
yes, I am.
The book is Killer: My Life in Hockey, and I don't read books before I do interviews with authors. But I got this yesterday, and I started leafing through it. And by the way, I can't believe you only gave me one paragraph.
Oh, stop.
Can't believe I only got one paragraph in the damn book. But I couldn't put it down. So you get your own copy. It's in great bookstores across Canada. Doug Gilmour with Dan Robson. Killer. Good luck with it. Good luck with everything. We'll see you soon, I hope.
I'm back at the end of November.
Thanks, pal.